Picture yourself standing on a small runway in 1937, watching a shiny silver airplane preparing for takeoff. The propellers are spinning loudly, and the engine roars with power. Inside the cockpit sits a brave woman with short curly hair and a big smile. Her name is Amelia Earhart, and she is trying to fly all the way around the world. But somewhere over the vast Pacific Ocean, her airplane will disappear, creating one of the greatest mysteries in history that people are still trying to solve today. Amelia Earhart was born in 1897 in Kansas and became America's most famous female pilot. She was always adventurous, even as a child. When she took her first airplane ride in 1920, she immediately knew she wanted to learn to fly. By 1928, she became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean as a passenger. 4 years later, she flew across the Atlantic all by herself, making her a worldwide celebrity. Amelia set many flying records and was known for her courage and determination. She was the first person to fly alone from Hawaii to California, and the first to fly solo across the United States from coast to coast. But her biggest dream was to be the first person to fly around the entire world at the equator, which would be about 29,000 miles, and the most dangerous flight anyone had ever attempted. On June 1st, 1937, Amelia and her navigator, Fred Noonan, began their around-the-world flight in a Lockheed Electra airplane. For over a month, everything went perfectly. They flew from Miami through South America, across Africa, and through Asia. Newspapers around the world followed their exciting journey, and people everywhere cheered them on. The trouble began on July 2, 1937, when they took off from New Guinea for what should have been a routine flight to tiny Howland Island in the Pacific Ocean. Howland Island was only 2 miles long and half a mile wide, making it incredibly difficult to spot in the vast ocean. After flying for about 20 hours, Amelia radioed that she was running low on fuel and could not find the island. Her last message was, "We are on the line 157-337, running on north and south." Then, silence. Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan had vanished. Within hours, the largest air and sea search in history began. The U.S. Navy and Coast Guard sent ships and planes to scour 250,000 square miles of ocean for 16 days. They found nothing, not a single piece of wreckage, not a life raft, not even an oil slick. It was as if the plane and its 2 occupants had simply disappeared into thin air. What happened to Amelia Earhart became one of history's most famous mysteries. Scientists and explorers have 3 main theories. The first is that her plane simply ran out of fuel and crashed into the deep Pacific Ocean. The second theory suggests she landed on a remote island and survived as a castaway. The third, more dramatic theory is that she was captured by Japanese forces and held prisoner during the growing tensions before World War II. The search for answers has never stopped. In 1940, a British official found human bones on a tiny uninhabited island called Nikumaroro, about 350 miles southeast of Howland Island. The bones were sent to scientists but were later lost. However, researchers who studied the old records believe the bones belonged to a tall woman who could have been Amelia. This discovery sparked decades of investigation on Nikumaroro. Modern searchers have found fascinating evidence on Nikumaroro Island. They discovered pieces of aluminum that match the type used in Amelia's plane. They found a woman's shoe from the 1930s, buttons that look like ones from Amelia's flight suit, and even a jar of anti-freckle cream that she was known to use. Most intriguingly, they found signs of campfires and piles of clamshells, suggesting someone lived on the island for a period of time. Some researchers believe these clues prove Amelia crash-landed on the island and survived as a castaway, possibly for weeks or months. Other searchers focus on the ocean depths near Howland Island. In 2019, famous ocean explorer Robert Ballard, who discovered the wreck of the Titanic, led an expedition to search the seafloor around Howland Island using advanced underwater robots. His team mapped thousands of square miles of ocean bottom, but found no trace of Amelia's plane. Another explorer, Tim Mellon, has spent millions of dollars using the most sophisticated sonar equipment and underwater vehicles to search different areas where the plane might have crashed. One of the most exciting recent developments involves analyzing a photograph taken on Nikumaroro Island in 1937, just months after Amelia disappeared. The blurry photo shows what some experts believe could be landing gear from a plane sticking out of the water near the island's shore. However, other experts disagree, saying the objects in the photo are just natural coral formations. Despite all the searching and investigating, the mystery remains unsolved. Each new piece of evidence brings hope that we might finally learn what happened, but definitive proof remains elusive. Some people think we will never know for certain what became of Amelia Earhart, while others believe that advancing technology will eventually reveal the truth. The mystery of Amelia Earhart teaches us that some questions are incredibly difficult to answer, even with modern science and technology. It also shows us how one person's courage and dreams can capture the world's imagination for generations.